Dante in California. You're on the air. Go ahead, Dante.
Hi, Alex. I got an article here you're going to want to write down if you still have that pen and pad ready. AP Enterprise. Sub-attack was near U.S. South Korea drill. Keyword being drill. And it says in this article here that 2 months after the sinking, U.S. officials for the first time disclosed details of the joint naval exercise held the same day as the attack on the Chinook. So,
yeah, no, Wayne Madsen, though, actually knew 2 weeks ago that there was a drill and that it was right in a nest of U.S. forces with deep-sea divers, and they were doing some type of torpedo drill. So the evidence is leaning towards another false flag. Because again, the Japanese government was about to throw U.S. forces out. Now the prime minister resigned, apologized, and said, your troops stay here. Please don't let North Korea get us.
Okay, just make sure you didn't look over that.
No, I'm glad you told me. But, I mean, now they're admitting it, huh? What was that out of, AP?
AP, yeah. The title was AP Enterprise. Sub-attack was near U.S. South Korea drill. And I also wanted to see if you had a chance to see Iron Man 2, because in that movie, the whole movie is pretty much about, arms dealings, but the whole movie they're talking about how Tony Stark is trying to stop weapons from being sold to North Korea and Iran. Those are the only 2 countries mentioned in the whole movie about...
Well, I did. It's funny you said that. I did watch Iron Man last week on the treadmill in 2 different jogs. And the entire film is Pentagon propaganda placement, and you can see where it's all paid for. It is total mind control, start to finish, pro-Afghan war. So, of course, this movie's going to be right on time for Iran and North Korea. Just like they had the Pearl Harbor movie right before 9/11. It's all queued up. It's all staged. And it's all part of mind control. I appreciate your call. No, I haven't been out to the theater. The only movies I really watch now is when I'm on the treadmill, because if I'm out watching movies, I can't jog for more than 20 minutes. But I'm watching Hurt Locker right now. I haven't seen the end of it yet. It's pretty good, actually. I got to finish jogging tonight. I didn't have time this morning because I was on Coast to Coast last night, so I had to get some shut-eye this morning. Couldn't get up too early. Mindless trivia. Why does that matter? Let's go ahead and talk to Ted. All right, talk to Ted. Quincy in California, you're on the air.
Alex Jones. I'm Quincy calling from We Are Change. Hayward, East Bay, and I'm always passing out your stuff, man, every day. So, but I just would like to say, as far as things are going, could this possibly have been a mud volcano that BP might have hit, and the news might not be actually saying the truth? What do you think on that theory, sir?
Say that again.
Could BP might have actually struck a mud volcano?
Oh, well, I mean, they do. I mean, they do have underwater volcanoes. In fact, there's more volcanoes because the Earth's 75% covered by the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and Arctic Oceans and other oceans, the 7 seas. The point is that, yes, they do have these big vents that do eject mud and oil and chemicals, toxic compounds out of volcanoes. That's another great point. I mean, they need to plug it. It is a problem, but them shutting down the beaches, shutting down the fishing, and using toxic chemicals to disperse it is far worse than the oil itself, from all the evidence I've seen. That's a really great point, and I appreciate your call, Quincy. We'll come back. I'll do 5 more minutes, and then we've got Paul Joseph Watson coming up. He's going to go over the entire BP operation in great detail. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Joseph Watson coming up in about 8 minutes. If you go to the CNBC website, you can read the quotes by The Economist. It's not actually in that shorter video clip. We're trying to find a longer one. Investment banker, it's going to get nasty. Buy land, barbed wire, and guns. Gold climbs a new record as double-dip recession talk grows. And, of course, Bloomberg reporting since the weekend, U.S. $13 trillion debt poised to overtake GDP chart of the day. I mean, this is where they wanted to get us. This is the exact position they wanted to put us in. Morgan in Alabama. Morgan, you're on the air.
Yeah, I want to talk about the BP incident. And my thing is, since it happened, they quit talking about the explosions that happened. They haven't mentioned anything else about that. It's been like a shadow over it in the media. But to me, it just seems like the Gulf Coast is a great place for them to experiment or to start their dominance in this country of the takeover that you talk about a lot. And I think when it gets really hot down here this summer, the gas prices are going to be affected by this. And I'm not saying that I know that, nobody knows for sure. But I think that's part of the plan, and it may be part of finally collapsing the dollar because, when you've seen in the past 8 years, when we've had the hurricane seasons, it's really bad. You have 3 or 4 hurricanes come, and hit the Gulf Coast. You see these gas shortages happening, people standing in line. I think that it's going to be, 3 times as worse, at least by August. It's going to be really bad.
No, I agree with you. It's again, it's a perfect storm of things happening. And you add to that BP now says that another company put an unauthorized piece of equipment on and they can't get answers. And that's where the real investigation should be focused. That could be the cover for the false flag event. And Watson, Steve Watson, Paul Watson, and myself put an article together that boils all of this down. It's up on prisonplanet.com, and Paul Watson's going to walk through that, and he may even take some calls, probably will, after the half-hour point, after he's covered it, specifically on the oil spill. In fact, I've tried to get to all the calls that were on the board, but we're not going to be successful at that. But I'll have John up at the network go through Donna, Chris, Mysterious, and other callers. Why don't you just call yourself Frankenberry or something? I don't know. Mysterious. Tweedledee. Well, whatever. I'm going to stop being stupid. Keebler. Just give yourself some type of fanciful name. We'll say the caller from California is Matt Ryan. How does that sound? We'll say that secretly Matt Ryan calling in. No, to be totally serious here, 1-800-259-9231. Watson coming up at the bottom of the hour if he covers the news. He'll take a few calls on the Gulf oil spill to get your take on that. 1-800-259-9231 is the toll-free number to join us here live on air. There's another big report up on Drudge. 74% oppose taxing Internet news sites to help newspapers. That's been proposed by the Federal Trade Commission. And there's a poll out. There's an article by Rasmussen polls dealing with this. I'm ashamed that 26% of people that were polled would want to take money from people that have websites and give it to the fat cat, corrupt, lying newspapers. But again, you got 26%. I bet those are government workers and bureaucrat types. That's about who works for the government now. Of course, 95% of new job growth is in the government sector. And I'm not saying we don't need some government, but come on, folks. The whole country's collapsing. We're not going to have any jobs if this doesn't stop. But if you go to prisonplanet.com, you can read the top story that's just gone up in the last hour. Evidence points to BP oil spill, false flag. This goes through all of it. It is so important that this article get out to everyone and that this article run the blockade that BP's got up there with Google trying to block all critical news of BP out of the Internet. They're trying to block us there. We might just let them block us because maybe they'll just throw a fit and shut the whole web down if we don't submit to them. No, folks, we've got to fight back. Great job to the crew. I'm going to bow out. Paul Watson is coming up for the last 58 minutes of transmission. Don't forget the online video bookstore to support us and get key material.